Ejiofor and His Mother. Ejiofor and his mother, Ugoye, lived alone in a small hut in Ejiofor forest. They were poor and lonely, but they had once lived in a big palace with plenty to eat and beautiful clothes to wear. They also had many servants to wait on them, and Ejiofor was always the center of everything because he was the prince. His father was the king of Ejiofor. This is where my story begins. One day, the king traveled to a faraway kingdom. The place was so far that no one even knew its name. He spent 1 year, 1 month, and 1 day. But at last, he finally returned. While he was away, Ejiofor grew into a very strong and handsome prince. He missed his father very much. He kept himself busy by counting the days. Every night he went to bed disappointed that his father did not return, and every morning he wake up disappointed that he did not return during the night. The queen missed the king very much. She was afraid that something terrible might have happened to him. He had never stayed away from home for so long. She grew lean, and sometimes the servants heard her weeping softly to herself. She always prayed to their god Amadiora to keep her husband safe from all the wild animals and bandits in the forest. Finally, one day when everyone had lost all hope, a horseman rode into the village to announce that the king was returning. He told everyone that in 2 days' time, the king would be in Ejiofor. As can be imagined, there was great rejoicing in the whole town. Ejiofor could not sit or stand still. He was so excited he would not eat. He refused to go to bed when it was night. And when finally his maid forced him to lie down, he could not sleep. Ugoye was almost as bad as her son, but managed to control herself better. And she could not sleep either. She felt that if she stayed awake, the days would pass faster and her husband would return sooner. She brought out the most beautiful cloths for herself and Ejiofor to wear at the welcome parade. The townsfolk were planning for their dear king. As early as first cock crow, the town crier was already going around the town, hurrying everyone to wake up and prepare. The big Iga drum was already booming. The trumpet was given its sharpest sounds. The master singer's voice could be heard from all corners of the town. It was as if the animals will be part of it all too. The chickens were clucking and crowing, the goats were bleating, while dogs were busy barking away. Even the birds on the treetops chirped ever so merrily. The town was very gay that morning. As soon as it was daylight, the whole town trooped out to the road where they knew their king would pass, with Ugoye and Ejiofor as the head of happy group. The man with the flute was piping such sweet music that Ugoye was moved to give him gift of money from time to time. The women with their ankle bells were dancing very rhythmically, clapping and leaping in the air. The men refused to be left out. The Menjabega dancers danced like they had never done before. Everyone was in very high spirits. At last, they saw their king riding toward them. There was a great uproar. Everyone tried to reach for a better view. Finally, Ejiofor could not be held back anymore. He freed himself and ran forward at very great speed to meet his father. Ugoye could not bear it anymore either, and she too speed after her son toward her husband. The townsfolk all run after them. Suddenly, they all stopped. They were all staring at the strange man on the horseback in confusion. For the man whom they remembered as father, husband, and king had changed beyond recognition. Seated on horse was king all right, but gone was smiling gentle face they all remembered. In its place was a face of overgrown beard, very fierce, angry eyes, and a scowl that put fear into their hearts. It was at this terrible moment that they became aware that the king was not alone. Just a little further was another group of horse riders, made up of a woman, 2 young boys about Ejiofor's age, and some servants. The woman rode up to the king and removed the veil that had covered her head all the while. She was the most beautiful woman. The people of Ejiofor gasped in wonder. They had never seen any human being like this. Where the women of Ejiofor were dark with short noses and full lips, this woman was the color of copper. Her nose was straight and pointed, and her lips were thin and rounded. What struck them most were her eyes and hair. Ejiofor women had curly black hair and black eyes. This woman came with the hair that looks like tassels of maize, and the eyes the color of blue sky. She looked at all of them with such disdain that they shivered in spite of the hot afternoon. She turned and said something to the king. The king replied in the same language. It sounded like the language of spirits to the people of Ejiofor. They did not understand any of this at all. At last, the king turned to address his people in their own language. But was that cheerful and booming voice they all loved so dearly? In its place was a harsh and cold voice which struck them like hailstones. He commanded everyone to listen. Very carefully, he announced that the beautiful woman was his new queen. Her name was Ejiofor. The 2 young boys were his adopted twins, Imam and Amam, and they were his new princes. Before the people could understand the fully meaning of all this, the king made a terrible announcement, banishing Ejiofor and Ejiofor from his sight forever. He did not even want them to live in Ejiofor. They had to go at once and live in Ejiofor, and they were not to take anything with them. He further instructed that nobody in Ejiofor was to give them any form of help. Ejiofor ran to his father and held his legs, begging him not send him and his mother to Ejiofor. He asked what they had done wrong to deserve such a terrible punishment. The king gave him a very hard kick, and he fell to the ground. Imam and Amam laughed when they saw this. They cheered their new father to more action, asking him to give Ejiofor more kicks. When Ejiofor saw what was happening, she went to her son and took him away. She did not understand what was happening to them. They were innocent, so God will protect them. After all, it was said that a cow that had no tail was protected from flies by its God. When the fierce guards came to drive them away with whips, Ejiofor took Ejiofor by the hand and led him away. The townsfolk all left in silence, unable to do anything to help. And that's how Ejiofor and Ejiofor went to live in the evil forest of Ejiofor, the forest of spirits.